Completed within budget and ahead of schedule, successful projects such as this are another example of why companies all over the world, such as Bally's and the MGM Grand. As opening day drew near, operations personnel were being trained.
To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. Our next stop is the Magic Kingdom. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors.
And would you take a look at this? Look here, what did we find on today's adventure? Oh, my old friend, it's been a couple of years. I feel like I'm Charlie and I've just found Willy Wonka's golden ticket. But how exactly did we get here? How did this 1984 Walt Disney World monorail go from Orlando, Florida to this rusted out old metal shop here in California? You are about to find out. Join me. Come on. Let's go. And if you're new to my channel, as always, welcome! Do me a huge favor and click subscribe down below. It doesn't cost a cent and it helps promote this channel for more awesome people like you from throughout the world. Take it one step further, give this video a nice like and thumbs up, and if you know someone who's into monorails, share this with them, please. Thank you. So first, let's rewind a little bit. Here I was in Sandy Valley, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas a couple years ago. No, wait a minute. Let's rewind a little bit further. First, a little brief history on the Learjet-styled Mark IV monorails, which had their beginnings on the opening day of Walt Disney World on October 1st, 1971. The first four monorails, being Monorail Orange, Green, Gold, and Blue, began their service, and then later added red, yellow, and pink, silver, purple, black, then lime and coral came later in 1984. There were a total of 12 Mark IV monorails that were in service from 1971 that were added all the way up until 1984. All of them had 5 cars, which can hold up to 204 passengers, with the exception of the last two, the lime green, and the coral monorails, which had 6 cars, which can total 244 passengers. But, my friends, as the Mark IV monorails started to age out and get older, they needed to be replaced by actually not the Mark V, but actually the Mark VI monorails. With new and ambitious plans to grow Las Vegas and to make travel and tourism more efficient for moving lots of people from point A to point B, the VSL Corporation came along with very rapid plans to purchase 2 of the newest monorail trains from Walt Disney World, the Coral and Lime Green, for $3.5 million each, which began service in 1995. With an urgent need of 3.9 miles of track to be laid between Bally's and MGM here in Las Vegas, this is how we get to this chapter.
As a diversified specialty contractor, engaged in construction and transportation projects worldwide, VSL Corporation is proud to announce completion of its recent project in Las Vegas, Nevada, the MGM Grand Bally's Monorail. Constructed by VSL within budget and completed ahead of schedule, the mile-long monorail links the MGM Grand Hotel, Casino and Theme Park with Bally's Las Vegas Hotel and Casino. The first step in construction was the installation of precast support columns erected on pilings. These columns support the 2 rails, which are made up of concrete beams that were fabricated using VSL's knowledge of the latest techniques in pre-stressed and post-tensioning concrete. Each beam's form was created containing a styrofoam center to eliminate unnecessary weight. VSL used specially designed forms for curved or super elevated beam, as well as individual steering for ease of maneuverability. The beams were then driven the 8 miles to the construction site to be placed in their final positions. The pouring, transporting, and installation of the rails were planned and coordinated by VSL to efficiently maximize the use of equipment and manpower, as well as to keep the project on schedule. During construction, the monorail cars were at Aerotrans in Salt Lake City, being refurbished and repainted in either Bally's or MGM Grand colors. Later, to create public interest and promote awareness of the monorail during this construction period, the MGM Grand and Bally's arranged to have a lead car from each train displayed on the Las Vegas Strip. Upon completion of construction of the rails and the maintenance building, The monorail cars were loaded onto flatbed trucks for the trip to their final destination. Just outside the maintenance building, the cars were carefully lifted onto the monorail tracks, with the MGM Grand train going on the west rail and the Bally's train on the east rail. This was followed by 1.5 months of testing the computerized monorail systems.
Let's go back to its very beginnings almost 3 decades ago. The original system was a modest 1-mile route connecting just the MGM and Bally's, though they touted the benefits for neighboring properties.
If you have someone at Luxor that wants to see the fantastic Mirage, this provides a way for them to travel that mile in a very expedient manner.
The idea of elevated transit had been kicking around since the mid-60s. Channel 3 ran a special report on the subject in 1974. Ideas fell by the wayside until 2 competitors cooperated on a modest start with potential for expansion.
The hope is the monorail will do a lot more than just connect the MGM down on this end of Audrey with Bally's down on this end. The dream is that someday the monorail will run all over the valley, connecting the airport, UNLV, and hotels along the Strip.
The guideway, or rail, was brand new, while the cars were hand-me-downs previously used at Disneyland. Smaller than what we know today, with attendants on the platforms when it finally opened in June of 1995.
Oh, I thought that was a thrill because this monorail is going to be here for a while and they're going to keep enlarging it, so I thought it'd be interesting to be the first one through the gate.
By mid-afternoon, both trains were running just about half full, but down the road, the MGM and Bally's expect to transport some 10,000 people every day. And they are hoping and betting that those same people will help pay back the $25 million this project cost.
By January of '03, construction had broken ground on the system we know today.
These people are enjoying one of the last rides on the MGM Bally's monorail. The trains are closing its doors to make room for new trains, the Bombardier M6. It will run 4 miles from the MGM Grand to the Sahara Hotel.
And the old monorail cars, last seen in a lot at Sam Boyd Stadium, where they've been used as obstacles to jump in the Monster Jam competitions.
So after the Via Sol Corporation built the monorail and put them into service in 1995, the monorails were used up and down the Strip for about 10 years before they're eventually replaced with the Bombardier brand of monorails that you see today. The current Bombardier monorails have been in service since, with a slight halt in service in 2020, but they reopened in 2021 with this News Channel 8 update report as seen here.
Thanks to Lori Nelson Cradd for welcoming us. Tell us, for who don't know, the history of the monorail.
Well, the story began back in 1995 with 2 trains that were from Walt Disney, and they were used to shuttle guests between Bally's and MGM. And then in 2004, the system expanded to what it is today.
Now, back to the 2 Walt Disney World monorails. What exactly happened to them? Well, they sat in an abandoned field off of Sunset Road for quite some time when they were vandalized quite a bit. They were eventually purchased by a family who sold off some of the individual cars and brought one of them back to their home here in Sandy Valley, Nevada, just about an hour from the city of Las Vegas. What did they do with their beloved monorail? They used it as their front yard decoration. How awesome is that? I love it. The MGM train was completely sold and sadly was crushed and erased from existence by a monster truck at a Monster Jam rally. They eventually wanted to get rid of them slowly but surely, so they put 1 pilot car and 1 cabin up for auction on eBay quite a few years back, and here's a news report about it. Check it out.
Yeah, but where do old monorail cars end up? Well, the ones we're about to show you are part of the transportation and Nevada history.
Denise Valdez tells us where they've been and why they could be invaluable for the right buyer. Denise.
This is really interesting. These monorail cars have had a pretty colorful history with Walt Disney World back in the 70s and the 80s. Then in the 90s, they had a brief second life, shuttling hotel guests from MGM to Bally's, and then they were eventually retired in 2003. Well, now they are ready for their final act. If you want to give them a home, all you need is an eBay account and a really big trailer.
I mean, it's one of the weirdest things you might see out in the desert, but yeah, they're definitely full of history.
Ian Gronseth has been sort of a caretaker of these forgotten pieces of Las Vegas history. The monorail cars have been collecting dust out here in Sandy Valley for some time.
They were built for Walt Disney World, and they ran there for, I don't know, 10 or so years, and then Bally's purchased them, and they ran up and down the Strip. And after, I don't know, I think it was about 10 years, and then they were dismantled and brought out here.
While in storage off-strip, taggers went to town on the cars, but they still tell a story. And that's why Amber Carter and her husband purchased 2 of them.
Making one kind of a Disney World theme, and then the second one make an MGM theme so that we could use them as sleeping compartments.
For anyone else that's up for a remodeling project, a pilot and a passenger car are up for grabs on eBay. The auction closes Wednesday. Now, as warning, the cars have no wiring, no engines, no wheels, just a sort of a shell of their former selves. So if you are in the market for a real collector's item, you have until tomorrow night to make a bid, and then a month after that to figure out how you're going to get them home. Dave?
So in June of 2021, I did a little bit of homework, a little bit of digging, and I decided to find the monorail. Now it's 2021, and don't get me wrong, I don't like to show my face. I like to stay anonymous, for now of course, so don't get triggered by the mask, please. And a little bit afterwards, a few months later, I decided to tell my friend with the Daily Woo, Adam the Woo, about it, and he decided to go try and see if he can find it also. Unfortunately, something happened. Check this out. Good afternoon from the middle of the desert. I'm LJ with today's adventure stop, and here we are, a Disney World monorail. Oh, that's so awesome. Look what I found in the desert, guys.
Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here as the recording of this Monday, May 30th, 2022, out in the desert, away from the hustle and bustle and the touristy regions of Las Vegas. I have discovered that there is a Walt Disney World monorail hiding, if you will, in the Nevada desert. So I'm gonna go by there. As well, I'm inviting you to join me. Oh, that's warm. And you know what? Not so terrible. Join me, shall you? Way out here in the desert, in front of this homestead. Now, I did a little research online and figured out where it was, and it was confirmed by my friend who does a YouTube channel called Adventure Stop. And he documented this, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, a year ago. He was able to come out here and see it with his own eyes. And he clued me into the location. So I just wanted to mention him. If you would like to see what it looked like. But you could see here where the monorail used to be. It was used over in Las Vegas after it was originally used at Walt Disney World. It was a Walt Disney World monorail, took over to Las Vegas, and then from there ended up here. Part of it was sold online, but there were still sections of it that sat right here in the sand.
I thought it was lost and gone forever, but here we are years later in November 2023 outside of a metal fabrication shop here in Southern California. What a sight of beauty it is. I sure hope they do something with it. I hope they restore it and put it in a museum, as Indiana Jones would say. So hey, I'm LJ with today's adventure stop here at our mini documentary at this 1984 Mark IV Walt Disney World monorail. If you like today's video, give it a nice like and thumbs up. Do me a favor and subscribe down below. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps out the channel a lot. We'll see you on the next adventure. Bye everyone.